very strange reaction to this song, and it took me a while to realize why. I felt some form of detachment, a first for an RM piece. Knowing the quality of the writing of RM and Tablo, I had to check myself if there is some sort of bias that's keeping me from getting connected to the song. But I just want to clarify that what I felt was detachment, not the lack of appreciation for the literary brilliance that is this song. I appreciated and recognized the beauty of the song, but I didn't feel like it was something I would want to listen to. In fact, I wanted to avoid it. I had to pause and really examine why I was reacting that way. Tablo and RM are two of the finest songwriters globally. Cerebral, but very, very personal. I had to force myself to read the lyrics over and over again just to understand. And it was probably on my 10th read when something clicked. And I went back to the first thing that Tablo said about the song. He said that he didn't want to release it because it felt too personal, like reading a page of someone's diary. And that was it. It was just it. I felt like I was violating RM and Tablo's privacy. These are super personal things about the deepest of their humanity, and I'm consuming it. It did not feel right. I know it sounds stupid considering they released the song. They consented that I hear their thoughts, but it was just way too personal that, I don't know, I felt like I was unworthy of hearing it. That being said, I powered through, and here are some of my observations. RM and Tablo are both gifted kids. Dan Lee, Tablo's real name, was co-terminal student of Stanford, meaning he pursued both his bachelor's and master's degree simultaneously. He earned his bachelor's degree in English literature, a common major for students studying writing and literature. He also earned a master's degree in creative writing, a field that focuses on the craft of writing fiction, poetry, and other forms of creative expression. Kim Namjoon, or RM as we know him, has an IQ of 145 and has proven his literary genius in all the music he has written, catapulting his group to global recognition through complex lyricism and adoption of psychological theories and classical literary pieces into pop music. RM and Tablo were both targeted massively on a national and international scale. Tablo's music had such broad appeal that he began to attract fans outside of Korea when he pursued hip hop or rap music. He launched a series of US tours starting in 2006, playing Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas and the Hollywood Bowl in Los Angeles. This was a big thing. In March 2010, Epic High became the first Korean group to reach number one on the US iTunes sales chart, topping Jay-Z, Kanye West, and the Black Eyed Peas. Korean hip hop had broken through. In summer of 2010, Korea was reeling from a streak of fake diploma scandals. It actually began in 2007. The chief curator of a modern art museum in Seoul was found to have fabricated her Yale PhD. She was jailed for 18 months on forgery charges, and a nationwide hunt for other offenders ensued. Prosecutors investigated at least 120 cases of diploma fraud, ensnaring celebrities, politicians, and even a monk. By 2010, a group of internet users created an online forum titled We Request the Truth from Tablo, better known by its Korean acronym Ta-Jin-yo. The group didn't buy Lee's story. They started referring to him as God Blah because they said that only God can actually accomplish what Lee claims to have accomplished. The members of the group participated anonymously and attacked Lee from behind usernames such as What Becomes and Sponge Bobo. To many in Korea, Ta Jin-yo's questions were legitimate. For instance, it usually takes 4 years to complete a bachelor's degree. A master's normally takes another 2. Students typically also write a thesis to attain a master's, and yet Lee said that he never wrote one. At first, Tablo didn't want to respond, but he later realized that his family was getting attacked and his career was getting affected. So he released his transcript. As the members of Tajinyo began to dissect Lee's public statements and dug further into his past, an elaborate conspiracy theory took hold. They claimed that Dan Lee, Tablo's real name, actually graduated from Stanford, but it's not Tablo. It was somebody else. They are claiming that Tablo stole his identity. I am going to create a video to give you the full story of what happened to Tablo and how it affected his career. On the other hand, RM has been the center of not just one witch hunt, but the cancel culture crusade, reputation assassination, keyboard inquisition, virtue mob, and direct attacks by the Korean entertainment industry and even their own government. RM, together with his bandmates, have been used, abused, and overused in people's political interests. They have been dragged to issues they know nothing about, and they get nothing in return. There's also the demons of success reaching heights no one has ever experienced. The public scrutiny and the hate campaign are ever present, massive, and relentless to this day. These common experiences on a general level, lived in different generations, made the song even more powerful because it turned out to be a progression, not a repetition. Tablo's verse started the story and RM was the one who progressed it. It's like watching a sped up autobiography of tragic beginnings and tragic middle. Tablo, the curse of the gifted. His verse, they told me I was gifted, but to unwrap my mind was wicked. There's something haunting about the line, not just because of its wordplay, but because of the truth it contains. Some minds are born vast, built not just to memorize, but to dismantle, to question, to reach places most people are too afraid to glance at. Tablo was one of those minds, brilliant not just in intelligence but in depth. And that's exactly why he was doomed. You see, society loves gifted kids until they say something uncomfortable, until their brilliance reveals a truth that parents, teachers, or institutions aren't ready to confront. Then suddenly, the same gift becomes a threat. Curiosity becomes rebellion, insight becomes arrogance, and thought becomes sin. It's the paradox of the prophet child. You're handed a torch, then punished for the fire. For Tablo, being gifted meant he was expected to shine. But the moment he began to explore the uncomfortable corners of his own brilliance, to unwrap that mind, it became wicked in the eyes of others. And so he was raised not with celebration, but with guilt, shame, and the rod. Tools of control used to make sure that a brilliant boy never becomes a dangerous man. And yet he did. Not dangerous in the way they feared, but in the way truths always is. Tablo spoke of grief, of identity, of alienation with clarity too rare for someone who wasn't supposed to survive the scrutiny. He was given the word, wisdom, expression, weight, but no one gave him the time, the support, or the freedom to grow strong enough to carry it. RM, the shadow that performs at night. RM's verse goes, and every night I put my shadows on, but you know how much I hate my status quo. The idea that every night I put my shadows on when shadows only exist with light is a form of paradox and metaphor. It contradicts natural laws. Shadows shouldn't appear in the dark, but that's the point. It emphasizes the unnatural weight he carries. Of course, it's also a metaphor. Shadows are not literal here. They represent the darker parts of the self, of the emotional weight of maintaining his public identity. And within, it is also symbolism. The shadow as a Jungian archetype, the repressed self, the part hidden from the shadow, and in RM's case, also from himself. RM's pain is more existential than external. Where Tablo was controlled, RM is performed. The world has already accepted RM's brilliance, but it wants to preserve it in amber. He is admired, revered, placed on a pedestal, but pedestals don't allow movement. His metaphor is paradoxical. Shadows don't appear at night. They exist only when light exposes form. But RM tells us he puts his shadows on as if wearing a costume. In the darkness, when he should be free to be himself, he dons the mask of fame, the costume of expectations, and the persona that satisfies the world but slowly estranges him from himself. His shadow becomes a double metaphor, both the darker parts of his psyche and the identity he forced to inhabit. What's haunting is that even in solitude, RM doesn't escape it. He's not haunted by others, he haunts himself. Because when fame becomes your identity, you no longer know who you are without it. Gift versus burden, light versus shadow. What unites Tablo and RM is not just the brilliance of their minds, but the isolation that brilliance brings. Tablo was feared for what his mind might become. RM is trapped by what his mind has already achieved. Tablo's growth was stunted by fear. RM's growth is suffocated by his own legacy. Both are navigating a world where being smart isn't enough. You must be manageable, marketable, or muted. Brilliance becomes dangerous if it questions power, or useless if it can't be packaged. And both artists write from that space where thinking too much, feeling too deeply, and understanding too clearly becomes a quiet kind of exile. The tragedy of brilliance. Tablo's verse was about people trying to control his growth, punishing the very mind that reached too far, too fast. Arm's verse, in contrast, is about people trying to preserve his image, trapping him in the version of himself they fell in love with, even if he's already outgrown it. Where Tablo was told his thoughts were too dangerous to express, RM is haunted by the pressure to keep performing brilliance on cue. His shadow isn't something cast naturally by daylight. It's something he chooses to put on even at night when no one should have to. That's the tragedy. In the end, Tablo and RM are not simply rappers or lyricists. They are cautionary tales, not because of what they've done, but because of what we've done to them. We praise genius until it becomes inconvenient. We love truth until it starts to hurt. They show us that the tragedy of brilliance isn't in being misunderstood, it's in being consumed. RM has talked about this several times already. His dark thoughts, his the struggles of fame, of being put in the spotlight, of the expectations. He's spoken about this in several of his songs. I guess what made this powerful is how it felt like having this song with a much senior artist and a much older person. It still felt like RM, he felt older, like he lived several lifetimes already because of the experiences that he went through, which is unusual because you would expect that of Pablo because he's older and he has had way more experience. But I guess the world of RM being this, you know, being bigger and elevated and having more eyes on him made it feel as if he is several lifetimes older than Tablo. And that is even more amplified by the fact that Tablo was the one who took his verses, felt or sounded more like it was about childhood as opposed to RM, whose verses were more about adulthood, the experiences that he went through when he was an adult. So the contrast, the irony of the situation made it even more powerful. So I still find it hard to listen to it. There's still some detachment that I feel. I do help in streaming, of course, but it's in the phone that's far from me and the phone that I don't really hear. And I will continue to listen to, but truth be told, I think I will only seek out this song on specific situations because it's just hard for me. It's so heavy. Um, take that as you may. I would love to hear your thoughts, though. Let me know how you felt, what it made you feel, what you think about the song, or if there's anything that you want to share. For, as always, you can say whatever it is that you want to say, just please do so respectfully. Also, if you ended up liking this video, give it a like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so that you don't miss a single video. You can set the alert on all videos or on specific topics. Also, please share the video because that's really helping my channel. Please follow me on X and also on Instagram and on our Patreon. It's a vibrant community. We do a lot of discussions, not just on BTS, not just on music, but in movies, TV shows, culture, travels, or sometimes we just mess around. And that we do have a free tier just in case you want to try things out first. I'll see you there. Thank you.